You're not blood. You don't get a dime. Robert's words hit me like ice water. We were sitting in a mahogany-paneled office. Dad's estate lawyer on one side, Robert on the other, and me, apparently about to be written out of my own father's will. Robert slid a document across the table. My father's signature sat at the bottom, clear as day. According to this will, everything went to Robert's kids. The house, the business, $1.2 million in assets. I got nothing. He leaned back in his chair, arms crossed. Blood relatives only. That's what your dad wanted. I stayed quiet, because the envelope in my jacket pocket was about to flip this entire room upside down. See, I had the real will, authenticated, witnessed, and absolutely devastating. But here's the question. How did Robert get a fake will that looked so perfect? And what was he really after? Before we get into that, do me a favor. Drop a comment telling me where you're watching from and what time it is. And hit that like button. Trust me, you're gonna want to see how this plays out. Let me back up. My dad died 6 months before all this. Heart attack, sudden, no warning. He raised me by himself after my mom left when I was 8. It was just the two of us for years. He taught me chess over breakfast. Showed me how to read contracts at the dinner table. He always said the same thing. Keep copies, kiddo. Paper beats memory every time. I'm a paralegal now. I work at a mid-sized law firm downtown. Saving documents? It's literally my job. 5 years ago, Dad married Carol. She seemed kind, soft-spoken, a little lost, honestly. But Robert came with her. Robert was her ex-husband's business partner. They got close after her divorce. Then they got married. And Robert had 2 adult kids from his first marriage. Dad welcomed them. He was like that. Big heart. But Robert? Robert smiled too much. Asked too many questions about Dad's business. About his accounts. About his plans. After the funeral, Robert started making suggestions. Sell the house. Liquidate the business. Simplify everything. No need to drag this out, he'd say. Let's just wrap it up clean. I didn't like it. So 3 weeks after Dad died, I did what Dad taught me. I called his lawyer and requested a certified copy of the will, just in case. The email came back with a PDF attachment and a short note. Per your father's instructions, sent to you directly. I printed it, put it in an envelope, stuck it in my car. I had no idea I'd need it this soon. 2 months later, Robert called a meeting. Family business, he said. Let's handle this properly. We met at the estate attorney's office. Same mahogany room. Mr. Pemberton, the lawyer, looked uncomfortable. Robert sat down and pulled out a folder. I wanted to do this right, he began. So I filed your father's will last week. He slid the document across. I picked it up. It was dated January 14th, 2 months before Dad died. Beneficiaries, my beloved wife Carol and her family. Executor, Robert Hayes. My name appeared once, under a section titled Personal Items of Sentimental Value Only. I'd get Dad's watch. Maybe some photos. That's it. I looked up. I'd like to see the witness signatures. Robert didn't blink. Right there, Carol's sister and a notary. The signature looked like Dad's. I'll give him that. It looked perfect. Mr. Pemberton cleared his throat. This document was submitted to probate last Tuesday. Unless contested, it will be executed in 30 days. I felt my chest tighten. Robert leaned forward. Look, I know this is hard, but your dad wanted to provide for real family. You're an adult. You'll understand. Carol finally spoke. Her voice was quiet. Robert, maybe we should talk to her privately. This is handled, honey. He cut her off without even looking at her. Then he turned back to me. Blood relatives only. That's what he wanted. You can keep his watch. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just asked for 48 hours to process. Robert smiled. Take a week if you need it. Won't change biology. I walked out of that office shaking. My phone started buzzing before I even reached my car. Texts, notifications, social media tags. Robert's kids were already posting about their inheritance. One of them captioned a photo of Dad's vintage Mustang. Thanks, Grandpa David. Rest easy. Grandpa. They'd met him twice. I sat in my car and stared at my phone. A text came in from Carol. I'm sorry. He said your dad changed his mind. I didn't know what to say. I wanted to scream. I wanted to call her. I wanted to drive back in there and flip that table. But I didn't. A colleague from my firm called. She worked in probate. Word travels fast in legal circles. Hey, I saw the filing. Are you okay? That's really rough. I couldn't even answer. I felt like I was losing my dad all over again. Not the money, the betrayal, the idea that he'd written me out. That I didn't matter. Then I remembered. I popped open my glove box. The envelope sat right where I'd left it. Still sealed, still clean. I pulled it out and opened it. Inside was a will. Different date, different beneficiaries. And suddenly I wasn't lost anymore. I was angry. The will in my hands was dated March 3rd, 8 weeks after Robert's version. The cover letter was from Mr. Pemberton's office. It read, "Last Will and Testament of David Marcus Chen. Authenticated copy. Executed March 3rd. I flipped to the first page. Clause 1, standard legal language. Clause 2, I leave 20% of my estate to my wife Carol for her financial security. Clause 3, I leave my business, my home, and 80% of all remaining assets to my daughter, who has been my partner and my pride." 80% to me. Executor, my name, not Robert's. Witnesses, Dad's business partner, Jim, and his CPA, Monica. 2 people who'd worked with him for over a decade. 2 people who would never lie for Robert. At the bottom, a sticky note in Pemberton's handwriting. "Per your father's request, mailed directly to you upon filing." Dad knew. He knew someone might come after this, so he made sure I had a copy no one else could touch. I sat there in my car, staring at that document. Robert had a fake will, a convincing one, but I had the real one, and it was dated 2 months later. The question now wasn't whether I could fight. It was whether Robert knew his will was a forgery or if he'd made it himself. I called Mr. Pemberton that afternoon. "I need to ask you something," I said. "Have you ever seen a will dated January 14th? Silence. "No," he said slowly. "The only will I have on file is the one I sent you. March 3rd. "Why?" I told him. He went quiet for a long moment. Then, "If another will exists and it's being filed as legitimate, we need to verify it immediately. This could be fraud." We scheduled a call for the next morning. I thought I had time. I was wrong. The next day, Robert filed an emergency petition with the probate court. I got the notification by email. The petition claimed I was emotionally unstable and contesting the will out of grief. It requested a psychological evaluation before any hearing could proceed. Then things got worse. The house went up for sale. I saw the listing online that same afternoon. 3 of Dad's business clients called me. They'd gotten letters from Robert saying the company was closing. Carol stopped answering my calls. And then I got a cease and desist letter from Robert's attorney. Any further harassment of the Hayes family will result in a restraining order and legal action. Harassment. I hadn't even called him. The stakes were clear now. If Robert liquidated everything before I could freeze the estate, the money would disappear. Offshore accounts, LLCs, legal black holes. I had 72 hours before the house sale closed. The clock was ticking. I didn't wait. I called a forensic document analyst. Her name was Sarah. We'd worked together on a case at my firm 2 years earlier. "I need you to examine 2 wills," I told her. "And I need it fast." She had both documents by that evening. 48 hours later, she sent me her report. Page 1, Executive Summary. The January 14th will exhibits multiple signs of forgery. She'd run a signature analysis. Dad's real signature had natural pressure variation. The one on Robert's will? Traced. The pressure was too even, too controlled. Then she checked the notary. The stamp on Robert's document had a serial number. That number belonged to a notary in Ohio, a notary who'd retired in 2018, 4 years before Dad supposedly signed this will. But the final piece? That's what buried him. Carol's sister was listed as a witness. I'd called her 2 days earlier. She sent me a scan of her passport. On January 14th, she was in Lisbon. Passport stamped. She'd been in Portugal for 3 weeks. She never witnessed anything. Sarah's conclusion was one sentence. "This document is a criminal forgery. I recommend immediate legal action and notification of the district attorney." I sat back and exhaled. Robert didn't just lie. He committed fraud, and I had every single receipt. I wanted to know why. Why would Robert risk everything? Why forge a will? Why go this far? So I did what I do best. I pulled records. Public records, court filings, bankruptcy databases. And there it was. 2 years before Robert married Carol, he'd filed for Chapter 13 bankruptcy. Total debt, $340,000. He'd restructured the payments, but 6 months later, he defaulted. Creditors started circling again. His house had 2 liens on it. Both of his kids had civil judgments against them. Unpaid credit cards. Defaulted loans. This family was drowning. And then Robert married Carol. Sweet, quiet Carol, who just happened to be married to a man with a $1.2 million estate. Dad's money wasn't a windfall for Robert. It was a life raft. I found one more thing. A text thread Carol's sister forwarded me. Robert, 3 months before Dad died. David's setting us all up. He wants to take care of the whole family. This is going to change everything. Carol believed him. She had no idea what he was planning. Robert wasn't entitled. He wasn't even cruel. He was desperate, and desperation makes people dangerous. Now I knew exactly what to do. I didn't call Robert. I didn't post on social media. I didn't send a single angry text. I did something better. I acted. First, I hired a probate litigator. Her name was Ms. Brennan. 15 years in estate law, sharp, quiet, expensive. I showed her everything. The authenticated will, the forensic report, the bankruptcy filings, the passport records. She looked up at me after reading it all. We go in surgical, she said. Freeze the estate, authenticate your will, expose the forgery. Monday morning, we filed an emergency motion with the probate court. Emergency petition to freeze estate and remove unauthorized executor. Attached exhibits, the authenticated will, the forensic analysis, witness affidavits from Jim and Monica, Carol's sister's passport scan and sworn statement, everything. Then we did one more thing. We sent a courtesy copy to the district attorney's office, white-collar crimes division. They love slam-dunk forgery cases. By Tuesday afternoon, a DA investigator had opened a file. I didn't call Robert to warn him. I let the process server do that. He was served Thursday morning. At the house. Dad's house. The hearing was scheduled for 6 days later. I didn't sleep much that week, but I was ready. The hearing was set for 9 a.m. on a Tuesday. Probate court. Small room. Wood paneling. A bench. 2 tables. Judge Brennan presiding. 20 years on the probate bench. 0 tolerance for games. Robert showed up in a suit. His lawyer beside him. He looked confident. That lasted about 4 minutes. My attorney stood. Your Honor, will prove that the document Mr. Hayes submitted is a criminal forgery. Robert's lawyer started to object. The judge raised one hand. I'll hear the evidence. Proceed. Exhibit A, the authenticated will. Dated March 3rd. My attorney called Jim, Dad's business partner, to the stand. He confirmed the signing, confirmed the witnesses, confirmed that Dad was clear-minded and explicit about his wishes. He wanted his daughter to have the business, Jim said. He told me that more than once. Exhibit B, the forensic report. My attorney pulled it up on the courtroom screen. Side-by-side images. Dad's real signature. The one on Robert's will. Note the pressure points, the analyst had written. The forgery exhibits tracing. No natural variation. Then the notary stamp. Serial number displayed in red. This stamp belongs to a notary who retired in 2018. She never notarized any document for David Chen. The room was silent. Exhibit C, the passport. Carol's sister appeared on a video call from Portland. I was in Lisbon on January 14th, she said. I have the stamps, the hotel receipts. I never signed anything for David. I didn't even know he'd made a new will. Robert's face went pale. His lawyer leaned over, whispered something. Then he stood. Your Honor, my client may have been mistaken about the document's origin. We'd like to request a recess to... Judge Brennan cut him off. Counsel, this isn't a mistake. This is forgery. She looked down at her notes. Then she looked at Robert. Mr. Hayes, I'm freezing the estate effective immediately. You are removed as executor. This matter is being referred to the district attorney for criminal investigation. The authenticated will dated March 3rd is entered into the record as valid. She banged the gavel once. Robert stood up, face red. She's twisting everything. David wanted to take care of all of us. He said. The bailiff stepped forward. Robert sat back down. The judge turned to me. Ms. Chen, you are hereby appointed executor of your father's estate. This hearing is adjourned. I didn't smile. I didn't gloat. I just nodded. It was over. 3 months later, Robert took a plea deal. He pleaded no contest to 1 count of forgery and 1 count of attempted estate fraud. Felony charges. The DA offered him probation, restitution to the estate, and 200 hours of community service. No jail time. His lawyer took it. A felony conviction meant Robert couldn't serve as executor for anyone ever again. Couldn't be a trustee. Couldn't hold fiduciary roles. It also meant he had a record. I didn't feel good about that. But I didn't feel bad either. He made a choice. Choices have consequences. Carol reached out a week after the plea. I didn't know, she said. I swear I didn't know what he was doing. We met for coffee. She cried. I believed her. She filed for divorce a month later. I helped her find a small apartment, helped her set up a bank account in her own name, connected her with a therapist who specialized in financial abuse. She wasn't the villain. She was a victim too. I kept the business, promoted Jim to co-manager. We grew revenue 15% in the first year. The house? I sold it. Too many memories, some good, some poisoned now. I used part of the sale to endow a foundation, the David Chen Legal Aid Fund. We offer free estate planning for single parents. Make sure their wishes are protected. Make sure their kids don't have to fight the way I did. The Mustang? I kept that. I drive it on Sundays. Dad's old playlist is still in the console. Springsteen, Fleetwood Mac, Tom Petty. I framed the will. Not as a trophy. As a reminder, paper beats memory. Preparation beats panic. Boundaries beat revenge. Dad taught me to keep receipts, and those receipts saved everything he built. I don't talk to Robert. I don't check on him. I don't think about him much anymore. I think about my dad, about what he wanted, about the life he gave me, and I honor that every single day. Here's what I learned. You don't need to be the loudest person in the room. You just need to be the most prepared. Protect what matters. Keep your receipts. And when someone tries to rewrite your story, show them the truth. On paper. So here's my question for you. If you were in my position, what would you have done? Would you have fought or walked away? Drop your answer in the comments. I read every single one. And if this story hit you, if you've ever had to stand up for what was right when everyone doubted you, subscribe. We tell stories about people who win quietly, people who stand up, people who keep receipts. One last thing. This story is a fictionalized dramatization based on real experiences. It is not legal or financial advice. If you're dealing with estate issues, forgery, or family disputes, talk to a licensed attorney in your area. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.